I'm Brian Winnikins, and as a tradition, when we are in Las Vegas, we have a chance to talk with Tim Lager. He's general manager, head of operations at Four Queens and Binions, and we always like to get an update on what's going on. And we really appreciate Tim joining us as we ask some questions that a lot of you have asked me to ask and get an update. And I guess first, Tim, let's talk. You had the mayor of Las Vegas here for the grand opening of the new tower. Had the soft opening, but then the grand opening of the North Tower, and things have been going really well with the new tower, haven't they?
Yeah, I'll tell you, we needed that improvement so much. The only negatives we ever had on the property was that tower. It's our original one. It was built in '66. The last big remodel of it was in the '90s. And so we knew we had to do it. Our owner committed to a $24 million renovation, which was required. And I'll tell you, our gauges with our comment cards to see what our customers think. It went from us being disappointing our guests, the way it was, they rave about everything. They are just loving. The new bathrooms are a major, major positive. The new sound buffering windows has been a big, huge deal. And now we're noticing people's comments more about, and I think me and you have talked about it, about our staff. In the past, if you went into those rooms and you're probably disappointed and didn't matter what you paid for them, and then also you were kind of tainted a little bit as you went through the casino floor, or the bars, or the restaurants. Now, because they're coming in, they're seeing these brand new beautiful rooms. All of a sudden, they're commenting about Alan, one of our bartenders, or Steve at our bellman, and we're seeing that they're really enjoying their stay a lot better. So we're very excited about this.
Or Justin at the front desk. Thank you, Justin, for helping me out when I first came in on Sunday morning after the snowstorm and all that of traveling. It was very nice being early in the morning, being able to still get into the room early, and he was willing to help me out with that. And that, I think, is the difference.
I think so. It's all about our people. I think me and you have talked about this before. The bricks and mortars don't really mean anything. It's the people inside of it. And if you have the right people and the right product, giving a good quality product, that's what's going to make the difference going forward and right now of getting that repeat business and that loyalty that we think we have and we feel we have with our properties.
Talking with Tim Lager, a general manager, head of operations here at Binions and Four Queens. Now, we've talked about this a little bit before, and you know how people are. I'm like that. Okay, you did this brand new tower, or you redone the tower. That's great. How about the old Mint Tower? When are we going to do that? And we kind of forget about that $24 million you just spent. But you have done some studies on this, right?
Yeah, this tower actually we've looked at a lot, and the owner, his next priority is this tower. It's a tower that, quite honestly, he really wanted to deal with a couple of years ago, and then what happened was our head of engineering pretty much told him our north tower had to be redone. He had no choice. So it kind of that was going to be a next on our list. We had to put it on the back burner and focus on the north tower. We've been looking at a lot of the costs. This tower is a lot more expensive. This one needs a lot more work, and that's something that we're looking at, and the owner's really wanting more data on that to figure out because that is our ultimate goal. We truly believe the Binion property got to have those rooms back online to maximize what its potential is. So, do we have a time frame? No, but is that a number one priority with our owner? Absolutely.
Meanwhile, you did do some updates, I guess, at least to the TV and sound system at Kings Bar. I know for some of us video poker players, the video poker machines, and again, we get it. It's not like you can just make a phone call and it's going to cost 10 cents to replace the machines. But is there the possibility of that happening with the bar top machines? Because they are the older machines, and it's probably starting to get hard to find parts.
They are older, but one of the things that we have that nobody else has is our progressives. So if you look at that, I believe, and don't quote me, but I think Sean has like 36 or 40 machines tied to progressives that they're from the King's Bar to the Palace um, to CBC. So we do something, we're offering something that nobody else offers. Um, it's not something we've got on the top priority, like you said. We just spent a lot of money on the room renovation, but I think to us, it's getting that value to a customer. And like I said, we try to give things that everybody else doesn't give. And I think the progressives are a big deal because nobody else is going to offer them on a bar.
I will admit, Right now, as of recorded this, in the Jacks or better, the Club Royal Plus Progressive is at $2,200, and yes, I'm chasing it.
Yes, and that's what we want. So I think if you
Of course, the casino wants that.
yes, but I mean, I think that's the way we look at business a little bit different than a lot of other people. They tend to tighten up and they tend to not offer things like that on their bars. Um, but we do. So we do have a kind of an old school mentality. It's no different than we've talked before about. We have no resort fees. Uh, when you go to our restaurants, our gourmet rooms, there's no a la carte. Everything's included. And a lot of people try to compare us to other people and say, well, this gourmet room charges this much for a fillet. Yeah, that's for the fillet alone. For that same price, you're getting a complete meal with us. And you go to Hugo's, there's nothing more spectacular than, yeah, the lady gets a rose and we bring a salad cart over and then we have a full meal. Then we're going to give you a free dessert. You don't get that. And I think that's what we try to do. I think this whole country is looking for value. And I think that's what we have always represented and given to our customer.
You mentioned the no resort fee. It is it frustrating if when people don't realize they don't even know what they're paying on resort fees and they didn't even realize Four Queens and Binions doesn't have one?
It is. And we've been trying for several years. It's a big priority to our owners to communicate to people. We have no resort fee. And if you follow us on social media, Taylor, our social media coordinator, go look at one of our things. She did a thing last summer. She went out to our patio bar. So these people are at our property. They are visiting our property. And she just went up and started interviewing people and saying, hey, where are you staying? And they would tell different properties downtown or on the strip. And she said, oh, what are you paying for a resort fee? Oh, I don't know. And she goes, do you realize the average resort fee is $50? And they're like, we don't know. We didn't know that. And people don't even, they're just going and clicking on something, not realizing that when they go to check out, there's, depending on how many days they're there, but yeah, you're there for 3 days. That's an extra $150 that we're not charging you. And she's like, hey, we don't have a resort fee. So that is frustrating to us because we are kind of the lone wolf out there. We're the only ones that aren't doing it. But our owner feels that, it's called a resort fee. Well, we're not a resort, we're a hotel casino. And we don't have those amenities that you could charge extra for if you really needed to. But quite honestly, most of them don't have the amenities and they're still charging it. And like we've talked, you sit there and we're both from the Midwest. I'm from Minnesota. You sit there and you go to a Motel 6 and they're going to charge you a resort fee. What's uh, what amenities do you have at Motel 6 in the middle of nowhere? But that's what we don't believe in. We believe in value. We believe in being straight up front with our guests. Here's what the charge is. This is what you're going to pay. There's going to be no surprises when you check out because we want you to come back. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for return and loyal customers.
Talking with Tim Lager. He is general manager, head of operations here at Four Queens and Binions. Um, with Hotel Apache, that's the other hotel, at least at the moment, on the two properties. I've been there. I've had the spirits introduce themselves to me a number of times, but you're doing something special with Room 400, and that's the real special room. But tell us about that.
You know, that was a little fun. Actually, we looked at that room, and the hotel was actually built 1932 as the Apache. And what it is this room 400 is separate from everything else. So there's two floors of rooms. It's the second and third floor. And then this room, there's no elevator or anything to it. You have to walk up a set of stairs. And in the original plans, it shows as a penthouse. And we were told in the early days, this was the first air conditioned hotel in Las Vegas. And back in the day, if you wanted to get a quickie divorce, you could come to Nevada and you had to be a resident for 6 weeks. Then you can get your divorce. We were told people like Lucille Ball, W.C. Fields, those type of people stayed here while they were trying to get their quickie divorces because it was air conditioned. So we thought this thing was kind of the VIP area, and so some of our people came up with the idea that we do have a 1962 Cadillac presidential limousine. It's really cool. It's got big old horns on the front of it. It's got a custom Jack Daniels bar in it. And they said, well, back in the day, Benny Binion was the very first operator to send limousines to pick up his guests at the airport and bring them to the casino. So we want to tie that together, that old school thing. So we have a Benny Binion VIP package only tied to room 400. If you book that room, it automatically comes with the availability of that limousine. So we can pick you up at the airport, or A lot of times we have locals that we pick up around town. We have a lot of them, it's very interesting, that want to have the haunted experience. So they'll come, we'll pick them up at the airport, bring them here, spend a night in room 400. We have a ghost box so you can have all the sensors and all the good stuff for the ghost hunting. And then a lot of them will stay on the strip. So we'll take them from here and we'll shoot them up to the Aria or Bellagio or whatever. So it's a really cool little package, and it's only exclusive to room 400.
Talking with Tim Lager, General Manager, Head of Operations here at Four Queens Binions. Tim, and this has been asked a lot of folks from the Vegas Downtown Group. The old poker room is still empty. There's nothing there, and poker was ended here at Binion's a while back. Are there any plans to somehow bring at least some type of poker play back?
Poker really relies. You really have to have a hotel base for poker. So when we purchased the property in '08, we actually built a brand new poker room. It was state of the art, and we did very well with it the first couple of years until the economy was so bad. If you remember '08, the Great Recession, everybody had to condense and cut back, and the hotel rooms themselves were in such bad shape we had to shut them down. What we realized is that as soon as we had to shut the hotel rooms down, it eliminated that base of people to play in the poker room. And so what happened is the poker room shrunk. Poker has changed a lot over the last several years. I think the generations have changed a little bit. They don't have the patience of sitting and playing poker for 8 hours. These younger people want something instant gratification. So the poker rooms have kind of shrunk around. I feel, yeah, if there's a point where this property has rooms available again and stuff like that, that there could be a potential. But if without that base, it just doesn't work.
With some of the, there's been a move to remove table games at properties across Las Vegas. And again, anytime we see that, and we saw it even here in the downtown, myself included, I love craps. I love playing craps. We get nervous that they're going to be replaced with these automatic stadium type games, that sort of thing. There are no plans for that, we hope.
No, not at all. It has changed. The market's changed a lot. But if you look what we tried to do several years ago, we brought in tubs. So if you look at crap, because craps is there's two things. It's very labor intensive. You normally have a crew of four. A major problem has been staffing, getting people. Ever since COVID happened, we have struggled with staffing. So we did a couple things with our properties because what was happening is if you could get somebody out of a dealer school as soon as they learned, obviously we don't have high end play here, but we're more of the base, the blue collar type play. Well, you train them, and next thing you know, they'd be off to the strip to make big money. So what we did about a year and a half ago is we realized, look, what we want is a better quality dealer, uh, and we want to make sure that they make a good living. So we went for going for your own, which is not a standard. They're out there. There's a few of them. It's an old school thing, but basically, instead of pooling all their tips, these people can go and say, okay, I'm your dealer. I'm going to take care of Brian today. And if you choose, then you're going to tip. You know that that tip is going right to that dealer, not going to a whole massive amount of people. But to do that, to make it successful, those dealers have to deal every single game and rotate to make it fair for the dealers that they get a shot at making a busy game. So we did that conversion. What we seen happen was that also we got better customer service. The complaints of customer service went way down because now that person knows that they're taking care of you. That's one on one, and I think that's the important thing about table games is its engagement. You can't replace that with a machine. You can put it out there, but the person that wants to play tables wants to look at somebody, wants to talk, and if you can get a dealer that is going to engage with their customer and be happy and know that if they do a good job, a tip is not guaranteed. It's earned. Um, but then they know that hey, I did a good job. I took care of my customer. And what we want, the best thing we can have, the best marketing we can have, is when that guest wins, and that dealer, I'm sorry, can high five them or do engage. So we've done that, but like the tub is one thing with the craps. Well, now we can do that with one dealer. So now we can still provide the product. And the interesting thing is a lot of times, especially our Four Queens property, the tub we have over there has seats. Well, that seems to be a very popular thing, is because normally you can't sit in craps. Now you can sit at a crap game and you can engage with that dealer, but we can at least keep the game opened because in the past we've had issues where the reason we couldn't open a game is because we couldn't have a full crew. So I think we've adapted. Is there going to be table games on our property? Just our owner started in the industry as a craps dealer up in Reno in Harrah's. So trust me, craps is never going anywhere. He loves craps. He loves table games. He loves the banter. So yes, we're not going all computer, um, digital type stuff.
He's a craps player. You know what? He needs to come down. As long as I know, I'll play craps with him, and put a bug in his ear somewhere. Even and it has to be a regular full table, but tell him to put in a crapless craps game at one of the properties and have because and then he can come down and open it up, and there'll be a bunch of us that will play craps with him. I'd love that.
Okay. I'll make sure I pass it on to him.
Eh, Along with the table games, you mentioned that one-on-one or that social aspect of it, and really any of the table games. Is that the reason why the bars are so popular with the bar top video pokers? At least for me, that's what I kind of get the same thing at the bar that I do when I am here at Binion's when they have the full table open and I'm sitting there playing craps.
I think so. I think to me, there's different type players, and some people are very quiet and want to be by themselves. If you look at how the floors have changed over the years, if you look, you see pods. So if you look at machines, before everything was straight line, and we have a lot of straight line stuff, but you'll see that there's pods. And what we've seen is some players don't want to interact with somebody else. They want to be in their own little world, and that pod gives them a chance where they're not side by side, shoulder to shoulder with somebody. They can sit there and have their own experience, and that's what we want to give them. But a lot of people, they come to Las Vegas for the interaction. And that's where I think the bars and video poker, as you know, uh, you look at a Wheel of Fortune game, you have no idea what your odds are. You have nothing. You're just pushing a button and it spins and twists and turns, and it's fun and exciting. But a player can sit and look at the pay table real quick on that video poker. He knows what their payback is, and that person's a little bit different player, a little more sophisticated than somebody that's going to play Frankenstein. So I think they want to have that interaction. They want to. It's a similar thing, and I think it's personalities that are going to keep you or make you walk away.
I know that for the longest time, those video poker machines, and a lot of us in the downtown group, we noticed the change from 9.6 to 8.5. Is there any talk about potentially going back or keeping it because of all of the other things with the different progressives and all of that?
I think we offer. Well, if you look at us, I believe there's nobody better than us because it's not just that; it's what our cash back. People don't do that anymore. So if you look at our whole package, we're giving a lot to our guests, um, but also you're running a business. And you have to sit there and make sure that everything balances. So I think when you look at our whole package, when you're a player with us, and you go into our players club and you get all of your cash back and all your other gifts back, we're giving a more aggressive payback to our guests than anybody else does.
The I know that when we talked in August that there had been a pause on the coupon books. Are they going to be coming back, or are they back?
We do have coupon books based on people booking directly with us. That's an incentive. If you go through, Expedia or something, yeah, you're not getting that type of thing. But that's our way of trying to say, hey, listen, if you come directly to our website, you book, we have more incentives for you.
Is that the challenge? So for folks watching, they when they do that Google Four Queens Las Vegas, they should scroll down a little bit. Don't click on the very first thing because that's going to be a third party site a lot of times.
Yes, you definitely want to make sure it's our website, the Four Queens website. That's a big thing because that's where we can give you more benefits. When you book with a third party, we appreciate that. We do a lot of business with third party, but it limits what we can do for you. So we really need you to book directly with us. And it's important for you to call our room reservations, talk to our people. But you should be, anytime you're booking anywhere around the country or anywhere, you should talk to somebody, say, hey, do you have a resort fee? Hey, is there any other expenses that are tied to this? We've noticed with our people, a lot of the people are calling us and they want to hear that. They want to say, okay, I'm talking to Tammy, and Tammy said there's no resort fee because they want to make sure because they've been burned by other properties. So I think it's good. Whenever you can book directly with us, that's the most important thing we want.
finally, before we let you go, what are the big plans for the upcoming New Year's Eve? It's always kind of crazy to say the least on Fremont Street, but New Year's Eve, it's a lot different though, because you have to have tickets and this and that. Can you kind of explain that?
Yeah, so every year New Year's Eve, the only time that the street completely closes down is New Year's Eve. And that's where we have a special permit. We barricade everything off. You have to have a ticket to be on the street. And the tickets, I believe, start at $60. You can purchase them through Fremont Street Experience. Um, and that's when we put a lot of entertainment out. We secure the area, and it really gives you a different environment than you normally see. And I think it's a big thing because it's probably the safest environment you're going to see in all these different areas. You look at the strip; it's kind of wide open. There's no real tight security or whatever. When you're here, you're getting the luxury, especially downtown, is you can come and go through the casinos once you get your wristband and you move around. It's completely secured. There's more security here, especially in this day and age, where you know that you're safe with all the cameras and the extra security. But then also, if you're on the strip and you have to use the restroom, there's no restroom. Here, you have the luxury, if it's cool out, you can go in, use the restrooms, interact in the casino, go back out. So we give you a value and an experience so much better than anybody else can provide in Las Vegas.
It, on the safety part of it, obviously there's the homeless situation, and it's not just in Las Vegas; it's around the country. But did all of the downtown casinos, did they push the city to put in that new police substation on the Fremont Street experience?
That was actually a great idea. Andrew Simon was our president of Fremont Street Experience. It's an idea he had. We had some space that was owned by Fremont Street Experience. It was an area that hadn't been utilized, and it was something. Safety is number one to us, and we want a safe, clean environment downtown. So he took the initiative. He reached out to Metro and to the mayor's office for the marshals, coordinated that with the entities. They all were looking for something like that, but they needed a space to do it. They never had a space. We provided the space as a group, which was a phenomenal thing. Because now, yeah, we have if you have an issue or whatever, yeah, there's a substation right here. You can see a police officer. If you watch, we have more police presence and marshal presence than we've ever had before. This is a public street, so yeah. The thing is sad. People, since it's public, the homeless person can be here. Which we're trying to. They're trying to help them and try to house them and try to do stuff. But now they have the support from them, Metro and the marshals, to be able to see a person that is in need of help, and they can help them because they're physically here. So we feel it's a really, really positive thing. Are we where we want to be? No, but it's going the right direction. So, and like you said, it's not a Las Vegas issue; it's a world issue, quite honestly. But at least we have something here that can help address it that a lot of the people don't have.
Well, again, it's amazing how fast the year has gone. I know for myself, I'll be here for the NAB convention in April, and I'm sure that's going to be the next time we'll chat. But again, thank you as always. We really do appreciate you taking some time out to join us.
No, we really appreciate it. And the funny thing is, sometimes you don't realize exactly what all your podcasts and your different stuff do. Um, but I was just telling one of our people the other day, we were getting ready to reopen the tower, and me and you went and did the tower tours a couple times. I was actually coming over to Four Queens, and the day it was raining, so my glasses were full of rain, and I went over to the King's Bar to Allen, and I was wiping my glasses off, and this couple are sitting there, and they said, "Well, you're Tim." I said, "Yeah." They go, "Well, we heard you on Brian's podcast, and when's the grand opening?" So I said, "Well, I guess he does something good because sure enough, I said." So we introduced myself, and I believe these people came back. I'm not sure, but yeah. So we appreciate you getting us out there and communicating to the people in Wisconsin.
Tim Lager he's the general manager, head of operations at Four Queens and Binions. I'm Brian Winnekins.